Have you ever heard of a man who seemed untouchable by the law, even with a life steeped in crime? A man named John Gotti, better known as the Teflon Don. But how did he earn this notorious nickname? In the annals of crime, few names resonate quite like that of John Gotti, the infamous Teflon Don. His story is a tale of audacity, power, and an uncanny ability to slip through the fingers of the law, much like Teflon, the non-stick material from which his nickname is derived. Gotti wasn't just any criminal, he was a kingpin in the world of organized crime. A formidable figure who ruled the underworld with an iron fist, his life was a series of illicit activities, each more daring than the last. His reputation for evading the law, despite his highly visible criminal activities, was nothing short of legendary. But who was this man, really? Born in the Bronx, New York in 1940, Gotti was one of 13 children. His life of crime began early, but it wasn't until he ascended to the leadership of the Gambino crime family, one of the 5 families that controlled organized crime in New York City, that his notoriety truly began to grow. As the boss of the Gambino family, Gotti's flamboyant style and brazen disregard for the law made him a media sensation. Yet, despite the spotlight, he seemed to lead a charmed life, avoiding conviction time and time again. His knack for evading the law led the media to dub him the Teflon Don, a moniker that would stick as firmly as the charges never seemed to. So how did this man, so deeply entrenched in the world of crime, manage to evade the grasp of justice for so long? And what led to his eventual downfall? These are the questions that continue to intrigue us about the enigma that is John Gotti. Join us as we delve into the life and crimes of the infamous Teflon Don and how he became the figurehead for the mafia. Born in 1940, John Gotti grew up in poverty in the Bronx, New York. But his ambition was far greater than his humble beginnings. The second son in a family of 13, Gotti's early life was marked by hardship and struggle. His father, a day laborer, could barely make ends meet, and the family often found themselves on the brink of destitution. This poverty-stricken upbringing would become a catalyst for Gotti's ambitions, driving him to seek a life far removed from the hardships of his childhood. From a tender age, Gotti displayed a rebellious streak, often finding himself on the wrong side of the law. It was during these formative years that he was first introduced to the world of organized crime. At the age of 14, he found a sense of belonging in the Fulton Rockaway Boys gang, a group known for their petty thefts and street fights. But Gotti's ambitions didn't stop there. He was not content to be a small-time hoodlum. He set his sights higher, on the world of the mafia. Gotti proved himself to be a capable and ruthless player, quickly climbing the ranks of the Gambino crime family. His charisma, coupled with his ruthless determination, made him a force to be reckoned with. His early life was marked by violence and crime, a stark contrast to the world he would later come to dominate. From gang brawls to hijackings, Gotti was a man who was willing to do whatever it took to rise above his humble beginnings. This was the making of the man who would later become known as the Teflon Don. But despite his ascent, Gotti was far from invincible. His involvement in crime would eventually catch up with him, leading to his arrest and conviction on multiple occasions. Yet, each time, he managed to slip through the hands of justice, earning him his infamous nickname. Gotti was not one to shy away from crime, but little did he know his life was about to take an even darker turn. Fast forward to the late 1970s, Gotti had become a prominent figure in the Gambino family, one of the most powerful crime syndicates in America. A man of charisma and fear, he was quickly climbing the mafia ladder. He had a knack for leadership and a reputation for ruthlessness, making him an influential figure in the underworld. But it was not just his fear-inducing persona that was earning him respect in the mafia circles. Gotti had a unique talent, an uncanny ability that set him apart from his peers. He seemed to be untouchable, almost invincible in the face of the law. Case after case, indictment after indictment, Gotti would walk away unscathed. He was like Teflon, nothing seemed to stick. This remarkable ability to evade the law didn't come from thin air. It was a combination of smart tactics, a network of loyal associates, and an intimidating aura that kept witnesses silent. Gotti was not just a mobster, he was a master strategist, an astute observer of human nature. He knew how to manipulate, intimidate, and if necessary, eliminate those who posed a threat to him. It was during this period that he earned the moniker Teflon Don. The nickname was a testament to his seemingly untouchable status. Despite the numerous charges brought against him, Gotti kept slipping through the fingers of justice, just like food slides off a Teflon-coated pan. The Teflon Don was not just a mobster, he was a phenomenon. As Gotti's power and influence grew, so too did his notoriety. His name became synonymous with the mafia, the embodiment of organized crime in America. The public was fascinated, the media was obsessed, but the law enforcement was frustrated. The Teflon Don seemed to be always one step ahead, always out of reach. While Gotti's power grew, so did the attention of the law enforcement. Despite his slick reputation, the law was closing in on Gotti. His Teflon coating was starting to wear thin. John Gotti, the Teflon Don, seemed invincible for a time, with a reputation for slipping through the fingers of the law. However, the tide began to turn in the late 80s and early 90s as Gotti found himself facing trial after trial. Despite the mounting evidence against him, Gotti continued to evade conviction, his legal team masterfully deflecting charges, much like the non-stick coating he was named after. But everything has its limits. The relentless pursuit of justice finally bore fruit in 1992. The case that brought Gotti down was a culmination of years of investigation, a testament to the tenacity of the authorities. The Teflon Don was convicted on multiple counts, including murder and racketeering. The man who seemed untouchable was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Gotti's life behind bars was far from the glitz and glamour he was accustomed to. He was held in solitary confinement, a stark contrast to his former status as a feared and respected mob boss. Despite the harsh conditions, Gotti maintained his defiant attitude, refusing to show remorse for his crimes. The final chapter of Gotti's life was marked by illness. He battled throat cancer for several years before his death in 2002. His demise marked the end of an era, the fall of a man who for a time seemed above the law. The Teflon Don may have been untouchable for a while, but even he couldn't evade the law forever. The life and crimes of John Gotti left an indelible mark on the mafia world, and his story continues to captivate us today. Known far and wide as the Teflon Don, Gotti's legacy is one of audacity, flamboyance, and a certain untouchable mystique that continues to permeate the public consciousness. In the mafia world, Gotti's rule marked a significant turning point. He was a departure from the traditional low-profile mafia bosses of old. Gotti was audacious and flashy, flaunting his power and wealth in the public eye. His reign over the Gambino crime family brought a renewed sense of vigor to the mafia, instilling fear and commanding respect. Yet, his brazenness also drew the attention of law enforcement, leading to the eventual downfall of not just Gotti, but the entire Gambino family. Beyond the confines of the underworld, Gotti's influence extended to pop culture. The Teflon Don became a symbol of the glamorous, albeit dangerous, life of crime. His story has inspired numerous books, films, and television series, embedding the mafia narrative deeper into our cultural fabric. The fascination with Gotti's life and crimes reflects our collective curiosity about the underworld, a world shrouded in secrecy and intrigue. Yet the enduring legacy of the Teflon Don is not just about his audacious reign or cultural influence. It's also a tale of the illusion of invincibility. Gotti's life serves as a stark reminder that no one is truly untouchable. Despite his Teflon persona, Gotti was eventually caught, convicted, and sentenced to life in prison. His downfall underscores that crime does not pay, and that even the most powerful figures can fall. The Teflon Don may be gone, but his story serves as a cautionary tale of a life of crime and the illusion of invincibility. Remember, no one is truly untouchable.